the impact of stress on sleep and self-care. And there she is. Hello, Sabine.
Hello.
So good to see you.
Good to see you too. This was easy.
Yeah, very good. Technology is fine. It has sometimes a fine moment, but I'm glad it worked really well for us tonight. Before we start, I'll just quickly introduce both of ourselves and just briefly touch on the topic, and then we dive straight in.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Mel, the founder of Morinda Botanicals, and I'm here joined tonight by Sabine Christelli. And Sabine is a dedicated sleep coach, and you've been helping lots of people improve their sleep and go back to feeling fantastic. And September is self-care awareness month, so I thought it would be a fantastic way to jump on with you tonight so we can talk about how stress can impact sleep and self-care. Sabine, before we start, can you just give us a little bit of a rundown of how you actually became a sleep coach?
I'm more of a sleep scientist that has combined sleep science with all the other things I've done, which is the NLP, which is mindset work, breathing, meditation, all the things that are kind of complementary medicines, you could say. And then because my deep interest has always been in yoga and how the way we breathe really affects our consciousness and how it determines our state of being. What happened was I gave a talk at a university about how to be calm and centered and pass your exams and have extra productivity using the breath and using your ability to be present rather than, stressing about the future and thinking about the past. And what happened was one of my yoga students invited me to her uni where she studied. And when I gave the talk there was a sleep lab. And I thought, wow, you're studying sleep. This is so interesting. I wonder if anyone has studied about how you can use the breath, which is free and easy, to calm down and therefore accelerate sleep or help you to go back to sleep. And the professor said, why don't you try it? And I said, are you serious? And it just eventually developed into a project and to look at breathing patterns and sleep, which I have since turned into a graduate certificate in sleep science. So I've always been more holistic, combining the science with all the other ancient knowledge. So that describes me best.
Wow. Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So while we're on the topic, we might as well can you give us some ideas on how you actually can use your breathing to fall asleep faster?
100%. So what happens is most people, as part of their self-care, they will do all sorts of things, juicing, having holidays, maybe fasting, or using natural products like what you offer, or releasing trauma, which is all amazing. The way we can use the breath is instant. I teach people here where I am currently in Queensland at the Reef House, people that have never, ever, ever meditated, how to use the breath. And so one of the primary functions in using the breath is actually to get really comfortable in your chair, on your bed. Because if you're trying to relax the nervous system by slowing down your breathing, but you are sitting cramped and awkward, it's going to be really uncomfortable and not natural. So one of the biggest things is right now, if anyone's watching, really roll the shoulders back and down because they're secondary breathing muscles. So if I was the best method, but your shoulders are forward and shrugged, you're going to say, I don't like it. I feel stressed by what Sabine is doing. Now, if you also relax your jaw a little bit and create space between your back teeth or massage that area with your skin products, I love bringing things together. This can be a beautiful evening routine. Relaxing the lips, the jaw in particular, so the vagal tone doesn't say, ooh, we need to be in fight or flight stress response. Once you do that and roll the shoulders back, you open the chest and the body, you feel supported perhaps by a couch or a chair. Now, the biggest part is inhale through the nose, let your belly expand really slowly. So you can bring your hands on your belly right now or not. And as you inhale, feel like you're really bringing your awareness right down into the belly. And
Mm-hmm.
as you exhale fully, a lot of people don't do this. They will start to breathe out through the mouth. But if you really want to relax at night, you want to exhale through the nose, because the nose actually measures the turbulence that flows into the nostrils and out. And when that turbulence is very minimal and calm, your nervous system recognizes that and slows down all those activities like cortisol, overstimulated kind of states of consciousness, and it will start to relax you within literally 1 or 2 minutes. Shall we do it now, or do you want to ask questions first?
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Okay, there's nothing like doing it. So anyone watching right now, we're just going to spend literally 1 minute and you will notice the difference. So have a pillow behind you, stretch the shoulders back, drop the shoulders down, and then feel that you can release a bit of jaw tension to your awareness. Remember, if you've never done breathing before, this is just the start of a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
Place your hands gently on your belly, and you're holding very gently. So shake out your hands a little bit. There's no tension there. And then bring your hands on your belly. If you tense your hands or your jaw or your shoulders, it will not be pleasant. It will seem to your nervous system very confusing. It's like, I'm stressed, but I'm supposed to breathe in a relaxed way. And that's where people don't connect. So close your eyes and just gently breathe in through your nostrils. Inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gently hold. And we're going to exhale for a count of 6, really slow. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's comfortable, 2 more. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Really focus on the belly. Exhale for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And relax your face, your lips, drop the shoulders down. The body's going to start unwinding. Excuse the birds out there. I'm in the near the Daintree, and all the bird sounds are just spectacular at
That's
night. It's not.
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful
Um,
background noise. Mhm.
Yes. So this really, really works if you do it a bit longer, if you really keep the awareness. When I see people live, I can see if someone's shrugging their shoulders or if someone is stressing, and I'll help them to release that, or roll the shoulders, or inhale and exhale them a few times, which can help you be aware that you're holding tension. But all of those things we just did, a bit of a jaw relax, a bit of a shoulder roll down and release, opening the heart, breathing into the belly, because when you drop down into the belly, you connect with your confidence, your groundedness, and you will actually make completely different decisions that are more grounded, holistic, bigger picture, rather than when you're stressed, which is all. And then you end up not doing self-care because you don't have time for it, since it's self-care month in September, and you make up all these excuses why self-care just isn't happening. When you ground, it will become a more obvious idea of course, that's the number one priority. So it's massive.
Yeah. And a lot of yeah, a lot of people they have this idea that self-care is, you have to book a day in advance to go somewhere, get your hair done, manicure, massage. I mean, obviously you can, if you can, go for it, but it's a lot of those kind of little things that you can actually do at home. Self-care doesn't mean you have to spend an hour on something. It literally is, it can be done as you just explained, a little breathing exercise, or, you could just get yourself a nice cuppa and just sit down for 5 minutes, or being more mindful when you apply your skincare products. It's just a lot of little bits and pieces. So it doesn't have to be a whole day booked in advance and you got to cancel everything from the diary and things like that. So
Totally. And when I teach, I always call them micro habits that shift your neurology. So that's where we're coming into how the mind works, and how these days we often feel like we have no time. And those little micro habits actually make a really surprisingly big effect or impact on system. So let me just quickly tell your audience, or my audience, whoever's here or watches the replay, when you realize the gold in breathing and getting sleep through winding down even for 10 minutes. Now, sleep is a 2-hour wind down period. Ideally, science shows it should take two hours, to start to wind down, which is from dimming your lights at night, not having those blue lights around you, doing something like a herbal cup of tea, having maybe a foot bath, journaling, doing things that relax, not watching TV and getting stressed out, or talking to someone that really makes your heart race, or watching a movie or the news that really makes you stressed. So it's like those 2 hours make a big difference. But even if you spend 10 minutes doing this breath work, your nervous system actually will tell the body it's safe to relax, it's safe to go into deep sleep rather than shallow sleep. A lot of people, oh, Sabine, I fall asleep at 9 or at 10 or 11, and then I sleep 8 hours, but I feel so exhausted still. It's because they went to bed with a lot of anxiety, subconsciously or consciously, and the body is not able to take you into the deep, restful states. And this is where the comes in and all that stuff. So the thing I'm trying to say in a roundabout way, because I get a bit passionate and everything, is that if you just breathe for 5 minutes, you're going to help your body to go into repair mode. So you're going to repair your beautiful skin. You're going to reverse age. You're going to start to digest your food better. You're going to check what's going on in your immune system, your liver, your lungs. But when you're stressed, your body is prepared to go into fight or flight. So all the focus will be on the arms and the legs to run away from a threat or to fight it or to freeze. And therefore, you're missing out on all the goodness of that repair during sleep. So it's the best, most important thing to do.
Yeah, wow, it does sound absolutely amazing. And so I would imagine a lot of us, women in particular, probably don't really struggle to fall asleep, but I would imagine a lot of us wake up in the middle of the night, definitely like myself. Have you got any tips for those that do wake up in the middle of the night? Is there anything specific that we can do to help us fall asleep again?
Yes, I made a whole podcast on that for the
Oh,
refill.
wow.
Really available on, it's called Sleep Easy, and I've got 13 episodes there that I made about sleep. And this one is all about what to do when you wake up at night. So the first one, that thing I'm going to say, prevention is a lot better than waking up. So I'm going to tell you what you can do when you wake up, which will work. But if you actually try to prevent it, by perhaps having a hot shower before bed, by perhaps doing a gratitude journal, by perhaps figuring out what your greatest worries are and actually finding solutions to them, which is something I teach, by perhaps taking magnesium or doing something calm like Tai Chi in the evening and affirmations, whatever you're into, then you're gonna most likely prevent it, because most people are exhausted, so they fall asleep and they go, I'm having the big sleep. Why am I waking up after an hour and a half or 3 hours? That's the sleep cycle, 90-minute slots. Your body decides they need some sleep. They give you a bit of sleep, the body wisdom, so to speak. But because you've gone to bed with a level of threat, whether that is your email, your relationship, your health, your finances, your body will never go deep into that full sleep. Now you wake up basically. So if you do wake up, the best thing to do after 20 minutes, if you haven't gone back to sleep, is not to keep lying down there. It's better to sit up and keep the room dim. Don't go on any electronics and just do some gentle breathing as I described. You could breathe through your left nostril by blocking the right, because the left nostril actually your calming part of your nostril. They switch every 90 minutes. So left nostril breathing, activating more of the right hemisphere, will help you to calm down again or to relax and go back into sleep. And your longer exhale than the inhale will also elicit a response of relaxation. So what I would recommend is keep it dim, sit upright in your bed, on a chair, breathe for a moment, or if you want to write things down, write them down. And then after 10 or so minutes, go back to lying horizontally, lying down. And that is a message to the brain. we are recommencing sleep. We are horizontal now. A whole new cascade of chemicals is released from your brain as a response to being horizontal, and then you fall asleep if you just ruminate. So that's one tip.
Wow, that is just absolutely fascinating. And so the sitting up horizontal, as the sitting up is an important part to help us fall back asleep. It is.
Yes, because while you're lying there and turning, the part of the system appears to still feel that you are in sleep mode, and it could take 1.5 hours, which it tends to take when the next sleep wave comes, because it comes in 90-minute cycles. So you can, from what I know, accelerate that by sitting up and doing something calming, really simple, not getting stimulated with light or with activity. And then as you lie back down after 10 or so minutes, it will go and reinitiate that sleep cascade or the message. So yes, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Wow. And do you, we've got a couple of comments. So this is so helpful and such beneficial info. And yes, it will be available to watch again. It will be shared on both of our feeds. And she's also saying my husband needs to watch this. Yes, totally agree. It's definitely beneficial for everyone. So just coming back to what you suggested with the holding the right nostril closed. So you wouldn't, is that an exercise that you would suggest for 10 minutes, or did I misunderstand that? So you try to hold the right nostril closed for 10 minutes and then just breathe through the left. Is that right?
Yes, you can also do it lying down. So one of so many layers to this. If you don't want to sit up, say it's cold and you can't be bothered and you're really kind of drowsy, a really good wear an eye mask firstly, so you don't start looking around, and then you might just use that technique of the left nostril breathing while you are sort of waking up, because every 90 minutes we do drop out of sleep and have a small moment to wake up, and then you can catch that wave and you can actually program yourself neurologically and mentally to go, it's time to keep sleeping, we've got, everything is fine, breathing through the left nostril, inhale, long exhale, drop back into that sense of gravity, breathe into the belly, and your nervous system will support that, because now you're working with that ultimate regulator. And if we reassure that one, then sleep will come easier, because it's essentially a safety mechanism and a survival mechanism from olden days, thousands of years ago, where if something was threatening our survival, we would feel that we need to be vigilant and wake up easily and perhaps fight or flight it, and rescue our family. So our brain actually hasn't changed to understand, no, that was just the news. No, that's just a bank account. No, that's just auntie or uncle so-and-so that are just super annoying. And, it's not a life threat. The brain has not really evolved to adjust to that. So it sees everything as a threat. And that's what with, to reassure the nervous system that it's not a problem through the breath and through awareness and habits, lots of other things. Goodness, I could talk for days.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. And now touching base on our topic, how that stress can impact sleep and self-care. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
So what tends to happen is that when we are stressed, as you probably all have experienced, often if we hold that stress, we will see more stress. Like say we hurt our foot first thing in the morning, oh no, and then we might spill some water somewhere, it's one of those days, and then we might rush to work. So when we have stress, we tend to go into a bit of a spiral. We may have noticed, because the thoughts that we have tend to cluster together. So when we are stressed, the idea of relaxation often can feel crazy and ridiculous. Yes, collapse and taking a day off, of course, or having a massage. But the idea that I can just go into the shower and do some breathing is going to seem less obvious, because we get really wired to survive and get things done and just get to days and survive it. So I always say that if you are going through stress, you always have a minute, even if it is going in the bathroom at work, and sit down and just recollect by just breathing and reflecting on what's happening, what am I, experiencing right now? Is this really worth it? And the more you breathe into the belly, again, my hands are on my belly, it's so pivotal. The more you breathe into the belly and connect with 3 breaths to that area, and that slow breathing, the more your self-care will become really obvious, and you will flick out of it quicker, and you will balance quicker. Because what we do, and it's fascinating, when we're stressed, we end up stressing about being stressed, and then we end up feeling upset because we're stressing, and then we're going, this is one of those days and I'm behind already, and so often it's catching that cycle of not getting stressed about not sleeping, or stressed about being tired, or stressed about too many clients or too many cancellations. And so it's really about catching it. It's like a little train that takes off. Catch it with the breath, and there's your self-care, and that's gonna save you all the wrinkles and all the tummy aches and all the stress that could accumulate. So it's that little reset, super powerful.
Wow.
I hope that answers.
Yes,
Does it?
it does. Definitely. It's just so fascinating. Like, I never really, obviously I'm not an expert on sleep, but you are, so I'm really glad I brought you on tonight. Are there any other tips that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes. Having you probably all know that, but going to bed at about the same time is really helpful. Waking up around the same time is really helpful. And if you have a sleep deficit and you want to catch up, it's actually healthier to not just sleep the whole weekend, because that disturbs your circadian rhythm. And I'm trying to prevent that for people from doing, I need to catch up on sleep, I'm just gonna sleep until 1 p.m., which is all delicious, but your biological clock, your circadian rhythm gets super disturbed by that. It would be a lot better if you're tired to go outside, fresh air, go outside, get that sun exposure and the light, which will help you to have a really strong sleep drive at night, and go to bed a little earlier at night. Instead of your normal 10, allow yourself to sleep maybe at 9 or something like that, and then reset, staying close to that healthy pattern. So this is important, because otherwise we're limping around out of sync the rest of the week. And I think it can really help.
Yeah, so instead of having a nana nap in the afternoon, it's better just to go outside, catch some fresh air, and then just go to bed a little bit earlier. Very good. And we've got another question here. What's the effect on the body and mind when your body was unable to get into that REM sleep?
Yes, well, REM sleep is essential. So the effect on you, basically, if you don't get enough REM sleep, you will feel horrible. I mean, I'm not going to get into the details because science understands it, but is still exploring. But REM sleep is essential for mental health, basically. And so if you're not going there, in my opinion, and from my research, it means you haven't unwound enough to feel safe to go into that sleep cycle. This is all about safety and doing the 2 hours before bed, slowly winding down, getting away from the junk light called blue light, not having a bright bathroom that stimulates you when you're brushing your teeth, not having the stimulants all day, not just through the eating, but also visually and through what you're listening to, really trying to navigate that, because your nervous system will do everything perfectly if you give it that chance. At night, you do detox your brain. And imagine if you think that there's a threat and you might have to jump out of bed to save your life because you've got university on or problems in your life, you're not going to detox the brain and integrate your memories, because the body's saying, are you kidding? That can wait. We need to have our blood flow in our arms and legs, and we need to be very vigilant so we can do something very quickly to save our life. So it will also cut out REM sleep, deep sleep, because it's on alert. So if you don't feel refreshed in the morning, if you think you're getting too much dream or REM or not enough, it's all to do with your body feeling safe enough to regulate itself at night, because it will do it perfectly once, unless we have some serious neurological disorder that is, inherited or something. It will do it. We give it that chance. And it's very much linked with getting sunlight, healthy doses, and avoiding the blue and artificial light at night is actually a huge contributor. Also scrolling, going online at night, super, super impactful on your ability to go into that deep sleep, including REM in all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's super interesting. And that's just, I do have a really silly question. So you know how mobile phones have the option to put the night light on, like the night mode, and it slightly changes the color to a little bit more of a orange hue or something? Is that, it's probably not 100% fixed, but is that helpful?
Yes, 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 yes. And I think technology will catch up fully. On the other hand, though, it's a good, what's helpful would be more helpful is if you get an infrared device, a little panel, and get good infrared light to help you release the melatonin. What would be helpful is if you don't need technology 2 hours before bed, because most of the time it's stimulating. And I think humanity is overstimulated, and to give ourselves at least an hour, if not two, before bed, to actually give our nervous system a rest, even from a stimulating movie or learning a language or playing a game online, even if those blue light blockers are on and those making it more orange and all that, there's still going to be some light exposure, and also it's a stimulation of your nervous system still. Not all of it, but most of it, yes.
Yeah. I knew it was too good to be true. No, but it makes perfect sense as well, because it also keeps stimulating the brain as well, because you're scrolling through social media, might be playing a game or reading, for example, on a phone in particular. It's still stimulating the brain, regardless of if it's a blue light blocker on the phone or not.
Yes, and it's very, very addictive, and it turns you kind of, not you, but everybody, into kind of like a strange zombie kind of addictive mode. And I'm very passionate to help people realize, I take people to their deathbed. Okay, I go there all the time, and it's a very beautiful place to go, because ask your version on your deathbed all the way when you're there, what do you think they're gonna advise you? Should you be doing other things, or do you want to watch more Netflix and scroll and game and overstimulate and wake up groggy and life is passing you by? Or do you think perhaps a bit of meditation, contemplation, or a beautiful hobby, art, tai chi, poetry, maybe listening to audiobooks, anything is actually soothing for your beautiful body and nervous system, like deeply? Do you think maybe the person on their deathbed would suggest that one? I mean, everyone can ask themselves their own question. I don't want to preach, because no one wants to be told what to do. But I find when we get in touch with that part of ourselves, we tend to realize it, and that helps with waking up from the trance that we're in at this point almost.
Yeah.
I feel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Sabine. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, or if you are watching the replay, still put them in the comments, and both Sabine and myself will get back to you. Thank you so much, Sabine. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on here with me tonight. It was absolutely exciting and so interesting to hear more about the impact of stress on sleep and self-care, and all the amazing tips you shared. I'll be definitely jumping off later, earlier off my phone, and I'll be definitely the first one to try the breathing technique to see if it actually helps me sleep better. Thank you.
And it's my pleasure. And anyone who has questions, let's keep the conversation going. I want to see more people sleeping well. The more people that sleep well, the more the world is a better place. I'm 100% sure of that. So thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Bye.